Live, local, and talking about the teams that matter to you. This is Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Brought to you by McMahon's Best One Tire and Auto Care.
Good morning and welcome to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. Along with producer co-host DC Hendrix, I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. We've got a great show lined up for you this morning. We're going to be talking, we're going to be talking to DC Hendrix, believe it or not. Yeah, he's also.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did I mention that?
No, you did not. So I was not really prepared to do much work this morning.
Let me ask him. Hey, DC, you want to talk on the radio?
Sure, let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. We'll do that about 9:20 because you've kind of struck a chord with some of the local listeners in that your interest in the sport of wrestling, both globally, nationally, and locally, is something that is very deep. And there are a lot of people that are into this. And I wanted to talk to you about that. And we'll do this after our first break.
Okay.
We'll talk to DC.
So I got time to prepare then.
Yeah, plenty.
Not throwing me right in with the Sharks right away then.
Sharks?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it felt like. I'm like, right now?
Oops. Yeah. I knew I forgot to do something.
Yeah. You kind of forgot to mention that one.
Well, but DC being the good guy he is gonna abide by us. And anyway, we'll talk to DC.
By the way,
got to
give a quick shout out. I love the hoodie.
Oh,
I love the hoodie. 2016.
Yeah.
NAIA National Champions hoodie, USF Cougars. I love it.
And you know why I'm wearing it? Because I finally got it back from my teenage stepdaughter. And I smell like Teen Spirit. My stepdaughter walks in the house last night as she went to a high school basketball game. She walks in. I look at her, and she's wearing a Notre Dame jersey, number 22, that, I bought one like that about 25 years ago. I said, where'd you get that? Out of Mom's closet.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mom's closet, I'm sure.
Yeah. So if you're in a home with teenagers, and especially teenage girls, your hoodies are not your own.
That's true.
I've got an Oakland A's hoodie that is vanished somewhere in the atmosphere.
I don't think I have to worry about my daughter taking my sports hoodies, but she has started taking my musician hoodies. So I got a Michael Jackson hoodie, the Thriller Michael Jackson logo hoodie.
Yeah.
It just disappeared. I'm like, I have no idea where it went. And I blamed it on moving because I moved here back home last year. I thought I just lost it in the move, and all of a sudden she comes home from school. And I'm like, oh, nice hoodie you got there. Yeah, when'd you snag that one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'll happen.
Anyway. I don't know is the official teenage answer, I think, these days. I don't know is the answer to everything.
Now, yeah, and there's a couple other issues than when they wear the hoodies too. But anyway, things you find in the pockets. Let me check.
That. That's a nice St. Francis hoodie. I like that.
That was well earned. So anyway, well, thank you for the clothing critique this morning. I appreciate that. Yeah. All kinds of things going on in sports. But I want to start out the morning. I want to mention the passing of a friend of mine. And many, many people in this community know him, and is Joe DeFlippo. Joe passed earlier this week, and he was a Fort Wayne police officer, and after graduating from Bishop Dwenger High School, where he also played varsity football, but he was a key member of the Fort Wayne Rugby Club, and he made many appearances on the show to talk rugby, local rugby, along with Matthew Doss, who told me that rugby was considered elegant violence. And I always loved that term because that's so fitting and so apropos. But Joe loved the sport of rugby. introduced his son Sam DeFlippo to rugby as a youngster. He started the club rugby program at Bishop Dwenger High School. And just the other night, I was talking to a person who showed me a picture of their son from several years back, who was a proud member of the Dwenger Rugby Club. But, he made that club sport one of the most popular ones in several of the schools. So, and Joe was a guy that if you knew him, he was your friend. He was probably one of the funnier people I ever knew in my life. Battled cancer valiantly, but I also played softball with Joe. My next door neighbor at the time, years ago, was a third shift police officer. And the third shift police officers had a softball team. The Stein Tavern over there at Oxford and Essen Castle, or Wayne Trace, sponsored the team. So we'd play at McMillan number 7 over there back in the day. And, it was great. We weren't all that good at all, but we had a blast. It was so much fun. And then after that, we'd go over to the Stein Tavern and have the Steinberger baskets, and we'd all go to work. So it was.
Honestly, that's what softball was supposed to be meant for.
I agree.
Just to have, it was like, not really like a therapy session for men, but like it was our chance to like just get away and enjoy time with other men. That was just,
with our buddies
with our friends, have a good time, play a sport, and like nowadays it's like way more serious. Like people are like, you would think people were trying to be like a professional softball player. And it's like,
oh, I know.
It's not that serious. Like we're supposed to just be out here having a good time. So that's what it's all about.
Well, and before the adult and the men's 30 and over leagues in baseball started, I was playing softball, somewhat serious softball, where, if you hit a pop up to left field or something like that, it's like, oh, come on, get the ball on the ground. Now with the Stein Tavern, you hit a pop up, they'd sit there and look at it and go, wow, look how high that went. That was just the difference between them. You were chastised for hitting a pop up on one league and admired for the height of the ball in the other. But it was a lot of fun. Well, Joe's funeral is this morning, 10:30 at St. Jude's Catholic Church at the corner of Randalia and State. And like I said, he touched a lot of lives. There will be a police honors funeral as well. So just wanted to remember today the life of Joe DeFlippo. In other news, the Fort Wayne Komets skated on home ice last night at the Memorial Coliseum against Cincinnati and dropped a 5-1 decision to the Cyclones. Brett Brochu, despite giving up the 5 goals, faced 53 shots on goal to the worst team in the league. So the K's in Kalamazoo will play tonight, and it's Teddy Bear Toss night. And we will talk to Shane Albahrani just a little bit later on in the show and get his take on what happened last night. The Indiana Pacers were winners, beating the Chicago Bulls last night, 132-123. IU gets a win over Miami of Ohio, 76-57. And in high school basketball last night, yes, we have high school basketball.
Let's go.
In earnest now. I'm not sure who Ernest is, but anyway, he's there. In girls basketball last night, it was Homestead over Carroll, 66-48. Snyder, a 64-31 winner over Southside. Northrop, 66. Dwenger, 51. Wayne gets a 52-49 victory over Concordia. It was Norwell 71, Huntington North 38. Central Noble 46-37 over the Angola Hornets. And it was Oak Hill beating Elwood by a score of 48-8. Now on the boys' side last night, it was Blackhawk Christian. Oh, what a good team they are. 64-52 over New Haven. Columbia City 61, Canterbury 45. Warsaw with a buzzer beater beats Homestead in overtime 62-60. Gary Andrews Northside Legends take down DeKalb 46-42. It was Southside 56, Snyder 39. Leo beaten by Heritage 67-61. Woodland 56, Jay County 40. Adams Central a 68-27 winner over Southern Wells. The Bluffton Tigers 53, South Adams 37. Angola on the boys' side beat Central Noble 60-45. It was Westview over Cherubusco 52-41. Lakeland 62, Fremont 39. Fairfield 67-42 over Prairie Heights. Lakewood Park Christian loses to the Garrett Railroaders 64-38. You know our buddy Dan Vance is one of the assistant coaches there.
I did. I seen that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dan.
Yeah, and they've got a kid in the middle that is phenomenal. It was Southwood over Wabash 46-28. Taylor 47, Northfield 34, and Manchester 65-44 over Wawasee. And that will do it on high school basketball scores that we do have. So it's here. It's on until about the 1st of April now. So we'll have that to keep us occupied, keep us warm, etc. But 447-8500, 260-447-8500 is the text line if you would like to weigh in on any of the topics that we have or have a question yourself. Feel free to text us. Once again, 260-447-8500 is the number to call. On this day in Fort Wayne sports history, the book by Blake Sebring, which, by the way, would be a fantastic Christmas present for that local sports lover on your Christmas list. And in the number of books Blake has written, from Perfect to all, Live from Radio Rinkside with the Bob Chase story, yep, and so many other books that he's written, and along with Steve Warden's book as well. Great Christmas present ideas. But this one, Fort Wayne sports history, the notation from December 7th says, in 1997, Nell Fettig wins her third NCAA soccer title with North Carolina. They shut out Connecticut at UNC Greensboro as Fettig served as the Tar Heels team captain and was named the NCAA Tournament Defensive Most Valuable Player. So congratulations. Well, we're in order there back in 1997. So. But that is your Fort Wayne sports history moment.
One of my favorite books on my shelf.
I keep this in my bag. I'm a book
collector, amongst other things. I got records and movies, all kind of stuff. But, my book collection actually was started by Blake.
Really?
I was not planning. I usually just go to the library if I want to get a book. And Blake, so obviously doing sports radio, Blake gifted me, I think the first one was the Fort Wayne sports history book.
Mm-hmm.
And I I just skimmed through it a little bit. But then he gifted me the Bob Chase book. And that just hooked me. And he does things other than sports books too.
Right. Yeah.
I think it was called Lethal Ghost.
Yes.
I think
he did that. That's a novel. Yeah.
Yeah. And he hooked me in. Great author, by the way. Shout out to Blake Sebring. But, giving me these books, and, as we help him promote them, it helped start my book collection and inspired me to actually start my own book collection because there's nothing like having, it's the same thing with records and movies. There's nothing having your own and owning it. Right. Ownership of that.
Even though you've read it and you'll probably never take it off the shelf again, perhaps.
Never. I've read Fort Wayne sports history all the way through now, by the way. And both Lethal Ghost stories.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, Blake Sebring, if you guys, I know it's the holiday season, so even if you're, a person that you're shopping for isn't a sports fan, Blake Sebring got something else for you, especially the Lethal Ghost series.
He does. And so now, with Steve Warden, we got Blake Sebring. I'm just waiting for Reggie Hayes and Ben Smith to write books now.
That's right.
I'd read both of those in a minute as well. Yeah. So, but 260-447-8500 is the number to call. And, my goodness, it was, another guy that I acquainted again with in Northeast Fort Wayne. He went on to become the quarterback at Northrop High School. His name was Kevin Geisey, and he's since relocated to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But he wrote a book, and it was based on his childhood memories of the neighborhood, and it's a good sized book, but Google or go on to Amazon and search Kevin Geise, Geise, and it's great, and just all the different references. Some of the names have changed in the book, but still I can kind of pick out who these kids were and things like that as they were growing up in a neighborhood in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area. So do indeed take a pick at that too. So let's see. We had a text that came in on the text line at 260-447-8500. It says, what years did the third shift police have a softball team? My uncle James Vashon worked for years and years. It was, let's see. Well, Sam DeFlippo would have been very, very young, but he was still very, very hilarious even back then. This would have been mid-'80s, late 80s, something like that. And, and that was back when McMillan had, 7 different softball diamonds. We had a baseball diamond, which was diamond number 2, a pony league, which was diamond number 1. The rest were softball. And this one was the closest to Hessen Castle Road. And I saw a couple of balls hit onto Hessen Castle Road from that. One actually bounced on Hessen Castle, went up and hit the front door of a house. And the lady answered the door. So anyway, fun stuff like that, So, that was mid to late 80s, somewhere around there. But a lot of fun. Gabe Silva, the Burtons, Bill Doherty, DeFlippo, the Nancaros, Mike and Steve, and just a whole lot of good people played on that team. We're going to go ahead and take a break. But before we do, I want to tell you about my friends at Culligan. This company, I mean, it's their integrity. I had a friend of mine told me, he said, I listened to your show and you talk about a water softener company. He said, can you get me in touch with them? I think I need a new softener. And so I did. And one of the Culligan reps went out, took a look at his softener. All he needed was some adjustments. The softener was still in decent working shape. He made a couple of adjustments. It started working immediately. And the rep walked away saying, right now you don't need a new softener. And my friend called me and says, do you know what just happened? He said, this guy, I was resigned to the fact I needed a new softener. He came out, made some adjustments, and did not sell me one. He just helped me. And he said, I'll be a Culligan customer for life now. And that's the integrity, that's the character that is with Culligan in Fort Wayne. Brian Rourke and everybody around Culligan is fantastic. Give them a call today, 484-8668. That's 484-8668. Give your people Culligan water. We'll be right back with DC Hendrix. Stay tuned. You're listening to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
How do you thank the people that add so much to our lives? How do you celebrate a community that brings out the best in all of us? You give back. In 2022, McMahon's Best One gave more than $100,000 to local organizations that are always there to lift us up, to listen, to strengthen us, every one of us. Throughout the year, McMahon's Best One will continue to give back to the community that has given so much to us, bringing out the best in each other, together.
This is Kevin Harlan from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. We'll have great matchups all season long on the road to the playoffs and Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. Join Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and me for one of the NFL's great traditions, Monday Night Football on Westwood One.
On 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM, or stream anywhere on your 1380 The Fan app.
For more than a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. In their car, at home, or on the job, more than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. AM radio is also the backbone of the emergency alert system, which keeps us safe in dangerous times. It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Animals are languishing in U.S. shelters, especially dogs who look a certain way. These dogs are just as deserving of loving homes as any type of dog, which is why we decided to help them get out of kennels. Join the thousands of supporters of our mission to help us expand our national reach and proudly place more dogs from kennels into their forever homes. To learn more about our mission, please visit us at kenneltocouch.org.
Have you looked at your auto or homeowner's insurance rate lately? Think it's about time to get a competitive quote? Call the Wise Insurance Agency today at 260-747-5373. Located at 7410 Bluffton Road, Wise Insurance is a local company that's been in business for 25 years. Being an independent agent working with over 15 A-plus rated carriers allows Coach Ron Wise to assess your needs and determine the best option for you to give you maximum coverage with the most affordable premiums. The Wise Insurance Agency also offers motorcycle, RV, and watercraft insurance, as well as renter's insurance, flood, and umbrella policies. Multi-policy discounts are also available, and make sure to ask Ron about the good student discount up to 20%. Let Coach Wise show you the fundamentals of getting the right insurance. Don't put it off. Contact Coach Ron and the Wise Insurance Agency team today at 260-747-5373 or find them online at thewiseinsuranceagency.com.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. In recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Now back to Talkin' Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
I'm going to let this play a little. You know, back in high school, my rocker friends used to give me some grief because I was like David Bowie music, especially like Fame.
Yeah, like this one.
Yeah.
I almost feel like this is like funk more than rock.
And I was an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, too,
like
and Motown. Anyway, but I liked everything. Anyway, that's enough about me.
Classic.
Well, welcome back to Talkin' Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. One with DC Hendrix. I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. And we don't have to go to the Talkin' Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union, because our guest is in studio right now. Let's go to the microphone and welcome DC Hendrix.
Hey,
DC, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, you were here, so. No, you have gotten yourself involved in so many things. All this time, I thought I was probably one of the busier people in town. You have eclipsed me and then some in all the things you're doing. In something that you are very passionate about is wrestling. And I said earlier that the sport of wrestling, it's a sport, but it's entertainment as well. And some people like to debate whether it's more of one than the other. But what first attracted you to wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, just growing up. First I had an uncle that actually wrestled.
Really?
Back, I think this was mid-'90s. I was young. I was like 5 or 6. And my uncle was pretty heavy into wrestling. He had just graduated. He went to college and everything. I think he wrestled at Temple University. So just cheering him on was pretty much my start.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up, obviously the 90s was like the strong point, I think, of, it's bigger now than ever before, But I think the 90s is where wrestling and like professional wrestling started to kind of take off a little bit. You know?
Well, yeah, that was during a period of time when, let's say, somebody who wasn't an avowed wrestling fan like myself knew the names.
Right.
That wasn't that the Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man Randy Savage, and guys like that, and they became household names.
Yeah. Yeah, that was more like late 80s. That was more like 80s. But, like, while everyone knew them, I think, because they were still wrestling in the 90s, most of them were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the 90s, I would argue, they would call it the Attitude Era, is where it started to get big. And it started to go from just wrestling fans to, like you said, people that generally aren't big wrestling fans. They're tuning in for the entertainment value of it. So I started getting into it there, and it just took off. I stopped watching it for a little while. I was 20 years old. I turned 20 in 2010, and I started having kids. So kind of got out of it a little bit, more focused on like getting a job and
being a dad, things like that.
Things like that. So kind of got out of it for a little while, but, I would say in your 30s and 40s, you kind of start realizing, look, like, you're not getting older, but you are at the same time. And like, you got all these things. People like me, you have all these things that you want to do. You have all these different interests, all these different things that kind of pull you in directions. And like, I do a lot of things in sports, obviously. That's why I'm on the radio. I do basketball. There's baseball. I'm a writer outside of here. But like, wrestling has always been a love of mine. So 2020, COVID pandemic hits and not a whole lot of work. We're losing jobs, everyone knows. I don't got to go that deep into it, but yeah, 2020 hits and I figure out I got to find something to do to make a little side cash. Like, I'm not working like I'm supposed to. I got to make some side cash. And I was like, I got to find something. And one of the few things that never stopped was wrestling. WWE stayed pat throughout all of this. They still were wrestling. They just didn't have crowds, obviously. But they found a way to still have it entertaining and still put on a show with no fans. And that intrigued me, that they were still that interesting without having any audience whatsoever, which it's entertainment. So, like, you almost need that fan interaction. So, like, I started getting back into it really heavy in 2020 and ended up getting pretty big. I'm still writing about it today. I'm actually officially a journalist for it, I guess.
Okay.
So I cover it nationally. I'm a media member. I don't have to pay for tickets anymore. That's pretty cool. But I get to cover it, interview the wrestlers. And I write for people like Body Slam and Daily DDT. I have my own wrestling website, WrestleHolics, and it's kind of taken off. I didn't expect it to go this far, but it's something that I kind of got back into in 2020, and it just hasn't stopped, and it's just getting bigger and bigger now.
Okay. Well, and talk now, then there's been, I don't want to say underground, but kind of below the surface, there's been wrestling locally for many years. And by the way, my first wrestling match, my dad took me to the Coliseum when I was probably in kindergarten. So I'd have been 5 or 6. So that'd have been the 63, 64. And to see my hero, Dick the Bruiser.
Wow. Yeah.
And Dick the Bruiser was the be-all, end-all for me, Dick Afflis. Yep. And of course, he's got a relation living in Fort Wayne, the Fort Wayne area. But my dad took me, and we loved it. We had a blast. But and I would watch that. I believe that was on Saturday afternoons right before roller derby with the San Francisco Bay Area Bombers with Joni West and company. But, wrestling to me at the time, I loved all sports, but that was cool. But
I love all sports as well.
But then local wrestling has evolved, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we ended up, my wrestling podcast called WrestleHolics Podcast, so I'm like the national guy. I'm pretty much like, I cover everything. So my two partners, though, Manny T and Drew, they're local guys. So Manny T he's actually a wrestling coach.
Okay.
Locally, he actually does a lot of stuff with a wrestling facility that, admittedly, our wrestling facility on Goshen Road, I had no idea, because admittedly, I'm national. So like, I try to plug in with the local stuff, but So we ended up learning about the Fort Wrestling facility right here in Fort Wayne, right on Goshen Road. And they do obviously real wrestling. They train like a lot of like even youngsters. They have like classes to teach the youngsters how to wrestle.
Really?
Like real wrestling though, like not the fake stuff.
Okay, the high school,
So like
high school and collegiate.
Schoolers, people that really want to wrestle, which is how a lot of those wrestlers start. They actually start real wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they train wrestling there. They train jiu-jitsu, all kind of things there. Like they do it all right there at the Fort Wrestling facility on Goshen Road. So like we're trying to do more local things and highlight what we have here. Like I don't think a lot of people realize the wrestling talent we have here. Like we literally have the number one wrestler in the state right here.
Yeah.
Juliana Ocampo.
Yes.
At New Haven is the number one wrestler in the state.
You know, my great nephew is also a varsity wrestler for the New Haven Bulldogs.
Nice.
Who are ranked. And
young
Mr. Doster is a state champ, I believe, as well. About around 145. He's going to on to the next level.
Carroll has a freshman, Joseph Warner, solid wrestler as well. Like, and also ranked in the top 20 in the state. So like, we're trying to basically tap into the local market as well and highlight as much as we have here, which is why we partnered up with the Fort Wrestling facility and will be moving forward as well. And a wrestling promotion called Main Event Wrestling, which is also local.
Okay.
Started by a local, he's actually a wrestler, Anthony Toatelli. He started a wrestling company called Main Event Wrestling, and they're pretty much a wrestling promoter. And we did a show at the Fort Wrestling facility, and we're going to do training things with the kids and give back. So we got a lot of plans moving forward.
And of course, one of the most successful wrestlers to come from the Fort Wayne area, Anton Talamantes, who went to Bishop Dwenger. And he went to Ohio State, and that entire family. I mean,
the show. So the show we did was like more of an entertainment show, and he was in the main event. We had he came out and interrupted the match and played the hero card. So that was the way.
Very nice.
So shout out to Anton.
Very nice, and his brother Rico. With Rico's barbershop and everything. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Rico might have been a boxer.
Yep,
or Tino Talamantes was a boxer. Yeah. So, but anyway, we're just.
They do that too. They do it all.
That's amazing. And speaking of that New Haven wrestling team, my great nephew is Braden Klauser, and this is his senior season. He is the whole team is just completely jacked about what they could accomplish this year, and congratulations to them. Well, DC, thank you so much for joining us.
Definitely a big summary, because I know we got Mike McCaffrey waiting. So I tried to summarize this as best as I could. But yeah, definitely a new venture of mine that I'm excited about. And now it's on to the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis.
Can you get me an autographed picture of Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
okay.
Should be interviewing her, so I'll try to set up what I can.
Maybe, that'd be cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, and hey, stick around and maybe run the board for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll try not to mess it up.
Okay, that was DC Hendrix talking about wrestling and the local, national part of it. And we're going to go ahead, step out, take a timeout, and like DC said, we're going to come back and talk to Mike McCaffrey. He's got a couple of basketball teams over there at the University of St. Francis that are, call them butter, because they're on a roll. We'll be right back with more. You're listening to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
How do you thank the people that add so much to our lives? How do you celebrate a community that brings out the best in all of us? You give back. In 2022, McMahon's Best One gave more than $100,000 to local organizations that are always there to lift us up, to listen, to strengthen us, every one of us. Throughout the year, McMahon's Best One will continue to give back to the community that has given so much to us, bringing out the best in each other, together.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Shop Dell Technologies Cyber Monday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Cyber Monday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Was a little before Christmas, so the story is told. The tree looked fantastic, but the decorations look old. No need to get worried or even show fear, because you can rely on City Glass Specialty for this special time of year. From religious decorations to ornaments and wreaths to magnificent nativity scenes that you simply can't beat. When it comes to Christmas and holiday decorations, City Glass Specialty carries it all. Come visit our showroom or just give us a call. Our selection is huge. In fact, out of sight. A Merry Christmas to all. And to all, a good night.
This holiday season, for the best selection of Christmas ornaments, religious ornaments, wreaths, and nativities, visit City Glass Specialty at 2124 South Calhoun Street in Fort Wayne or call 260-744-3301.
Are you someone that wants to enjoy your sales career? Do you want to represent a product that you truly believe in and have a passion about? Well, since you're currently listening to 1380 The Fan, we can assume that you like this radio station. And if you can understand the importance of connecting local advertisers with a market of passionate listeners and the benefits that can bring, we'd like to talk to you. You might just be our next sales superstar. Hey, this is Brett Rump. You can come work with me at 1380 The Fan. Just simply by texting the word winner to 45364. That's winner to 45364. Have a great work-life balance. Enjoy time with your family and begin a new career, thoroughly enjoying and having a passion for what you're selling. Text winner to 45364. Just take a moment to take the free talent assessment and discover if you have what it takes to be a star account executive, and you'll even get a free copy of your talent report. 1380 The Fan is proudly part of Federated Media, an equal opportunity employer that values.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. Oh, I hear that Van Halen music, and I keep thinking back to the 1984 Cubs. Oh, with Sandberg and Denier and Matthews and Moreland and Boa, anyway, Leon Durham, Jody Davis. The list goes on. Anyway, welcome back. And let's go right to the Talkin Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union, because on there patiently is Mr. Mike McCaffrey from the University of St. Francis. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. Are you also thinking back to 1984, one of the greatest performances of an NFL quarterback in history, a guy named Dan Marino?
Dan Marino.
Really? I mean, he lost in the Super Bowl to Joe Montana and never made it back again, but, 5,000 yards, pretty impressive season back in 84.
He was in that movie Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, wasn't he?
Well played, my friend.
Oh, my goodness.
Laces out.
Yes, that's right. Dan. Okay, nothing. The University of St. Francis Cougar basketball teams. And let's start with the women's team of Jeremy Henney. Perfect thus far. 10-0 and head to Bethel today for a 1:00 tip. This thing, it was threatened to be a bit of a machine in a couple years ago. And sure enough, this is coming to fruition. This is a good team.
Yeah, real good team. And really taking on the identity of Coach Henney and what he's wanted to do since he got here. He wants tough kids. He wants ones that are going to defend. And I think the moment on Wednesday night against Huntington was when we came out of halftime. I think it was a 2 or 3 point game, and really just dominated them in the third quarter defensively. Just came out and shut down one of the best point guards in the country in Bailey Kellum, and just put Isabella Gizzi on her, and that's kind of our defensive stopper, and Henny loves coaching her, and he puts her on the best player every single game, and she's relentless. She may not show up in the box score putting up a ton of points and all those things, but what she does is she gets after the best player on the other team every single night, and she did that to Bailey Kellum. And so, yeah, they came out in the second half, decided to impose their will, and ended up getting a pretty comfortable victory over Huntington, who's been playing really tough this year and played tough against Indiana Wesleyan. And so we knew it was going to be a battle, and for the first half it was, and then kind of took care of business the way we needed to in the second half to get to 10-0. But, yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of basketball left to play. Obviously, we're going to play 30 or 28 games over the course of a season, so we've got 18 left, and a lot of Crossroads League ahead of us. We've got 3 in the bag, 1 more today, and then we'll head into break, and the ladies team will head down to Florida for a couple games, and then come back for Crossroads League play on December 4th against Indiana Wesleyan at home. So it doesn't get any easier, but they're definitely playing well, and Jeremy's got this team rolling, and add some young kids to some returners, and then you've got kind of 2 ends of the spectrum with Callie Gregory, a freshman from Ohio, who's just amazing, and then on the other end, you've got Cassidy Crawford, who's back for her 5th and a half, maybe 6th year, you want to call it, because of injuries and red shirts and COVID and all that. And she's been Cassidy. She's been what we need, and she's a great leader.
Well, I remember Callie Gregory from the Border Wars class of the Tom Ream, and she put on a show there as well. So, yeah, all kinds of talent there and a nice mix. And once again, Jeremy Henny and the coaching staff getting the most out of all the players as well. So a lot of fun to watch that. Let's turn over to the men's hoops now. 10-3 and completed the sweep of the Huntington Foresters on Wednesday night.
Yeah, that was a big one. I know the team was disappointed coming back from Tennessee over the weekend, where we had played in a tournament they call the Show. Dropped 2 to, I think, 2 pretty good teams you're going to see at the end of the day. Obviously, Georgetown's number 3 in the country, and Pikeville, I think, is pretty talented and is going to be there in the end. And came up short against Pikeville the first day, and then turned around and just really didn't have a lot to compete with Georgetown on the second day. So ended up coming back 0-2. But as I said to Coach Lacrosse and Coach Cummings before the game on Wednesday night, I said we can erase the whole weekend with a win tonight, because this is as big as either of those were, because you've got the top-ranked team in our conference in Huntington in our place early on. And, again, it was defensive-driven. Again, a close game at halftime, but Dane Burke and Luke Almondovar and Brandon Northern and Isaiah Malone just, again, when they're playing together and they're feeding off of each other and playing good defense, playing for one another, they're a good team, and we ended up pulling away pretty significantly in the second half against a very talented Huntington team. And so it's good to see contributions coming from all over the place. And obviously, again, doesn't get any easier. They're going to be off until January 4th and come back against Indiana Wesleyan at our place, who right now is 0-3 in the conference. We'll see what happens today with them, but you never really want an Indiana Wesleyan team coming to your place 0-4 in the conference and upset. So we'll deal with that when we have to. But yeah, things are going well right now. We've got a lot of basketball ahead of us, but kind of what we had hoped and what we had thought. Obviously, we didn't expect 10-0 on the women's side, and 10-3 is a pretty darn good mark for our men right now.
Oh, most definitely. And now track and field, the indoor season was that started yesterday at the Warrior Open?
Yeah. So Indiana Tech generally gets the first indoor meet for us, and we went over there yesterday and competed and had some good performances. Just kind of the first one to get the rust off a little bit. We've actually got 6 kids out in California with Coach Moody right now who are running in the NAIA sanctioned marathon. So you kind of submit your times, and you run over several weeks, and you submit them through this tracking website. And if you hit these numbers, and you qualify for the marathon. So Dylan Anspaugh was one of our kids that went out and ran last year, and he's back out there again this year, but brought 5 teammates out with him. So they're out there on the West Coast running marathons, while Coach Hart has got the indoor team off and running, and we'll run nationals coming up in February, early March, and then make that quick transition to outdoor. But right now we're trying to get in there and get some points and do what we can.
Mike, thank you for joining us this morning, and we will get another update from you next Saturday.
Sounds great, Jim. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you. That was Mike McCaffrey, athletic director at the University of St. Francis, in our weekly Cougar Chat. We're going to take a break and come back with Shane Albahrani. We'll do all that when we return. You're listening to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
What a weekend for Purdue basketball.
They're the all-time leader in Big Ten titles.
Oh, mama, he's cooking today.
And they play right here all year long. You don't want to miss a single game of Boiler Bowl this season.
He dunks with two hands. What a weekend to be a Boilermaker.
The Purdue Boilermakers play here
on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Confidence. It can go a long way for a man. It can help you land that job, close the deal, or maybe even connect with someone special. If you truly want to have confidence, it starts with looking your best. That's why you shop at Christopher James Menswear. Right now, all the fall fashions are arriving. New styles coming in daily at Christopher James Menswear now. The finest in suits, sport coats, sportswear, denim, and shoes. Christopher James Menswear in Covington Plaza on West Jefferson, 1 block west of Getz.
Attention homeowners, are you tired of paying too much on your energy bills? Over 90% of homes likely need more insulation. It's time you discovered Koala Insulation, a premier insulation contractor. Koala's team can give you a free insulation evaluation. There's no obligation. It's one of the best home improvement returns on investments you can make. And then you can start saving money for years to come. So be sure to book your appointment for a free insulation evaluation online at koalainsulation.com.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. Along with DC Hendrix, I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts till the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Easy to get a hold of us and be part of the show. Do so via the text line at 260-447-8500. Especially if a comic question, because on the Talkin Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union, is the voice of the Fort Wayne Komets, Mr. Shane Albahrani. Shane, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy.
And did we hear Sheriff in the background?
Yeah, Sheriff. He's a little fiery this morning. I think he's kind of barking to have the guys listen to him in morning skate today. I think he's fired up. After last night's performance, trying to get the guys in gear.
Yes, and that was, I guess, a game to quickly forget and just move forward. And I know it was referenced the Kalamazoo game early in the season. Last night, just not one of the better efforts. I know Brett Brochu faced 53 shots and saved 48 of them, so giving up the 5 goals statistically wasn't too bad based on the number of shots that the Cyclones peppered the K's net with.
Yeah, no, Brett Brochu's save percentage didn't take a hit last night, but I think Fred said during the broadcast last night that he could probably sue for lack of defense with his teammates last night. But no, I'm with you, Jim. The effort. You go back and you reference that 9-2 loss we had in Kalamazoo, but that was first week of November. These guys were still trying to get to know each other. But now, there's really kind of no excuse for that kind of effort. And we were in Cincinnati on Wednesday, got away with the win 2-1, but I know I wasn't very comfortable with the effort, even though we got the win. And I kind of felt that, oh man, if we have the same kind of attitude and laid back kind of thing going into Friday night's game, we're going to be in trouble. And we were. We gave up a 2-on-1 chance like 9 seconds into the game. And right there, you knew it's like, oh, this is going to be a long night. And, you're going to have stinkers like that. But when you're playing a team that's dead last in the league and dead last by a lot, not just by a game or two, a team that hadn't won on the road, and here it is December, and they get their first win at the Coliseum. Yeah, it's a hard one to swallow. So, but hey, you got to forget about it. You got another game tonight, another division game, and, all is right with the world if you get 2 points tonight.
That's right. And with tonight's game, the K's have 7 games on Coliseum ice just in the month of December alone. And so those are the times when you want to rack up 2 points and get that home crowd behind you and create that jungle atmosphere that we've had and what can happen so quickly. But tonight with Kalamazoo coming to town, of course, Kalamazoo started out a little bit hot. Now they're struggling somewhat. But tonight is teddy bear toss night. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a popular night. You bring your teddy bears or your stuffed animals and throw them out on the ice after the Komets score their first goal, and everything goes to a good cause. Lutheran Children's Hospital will get some of the bears, and our good friends at Goodwill were kind enough to come out and let us use their truck, and they're going to be collecting them, and then they'll be distributing them throughout the community as well. So a lot of different charities are going to benefit tonight. So, come on out and throw your teddy bears out on the ice tonight. So it's always a good night on Teddy Bear Toss Night. Oh,
Kevin Morse and the people at Goodwill are just community ambassadors, and we're very thankful for that. But, so as far as the health of the Comet roster, what are we looking at from an injuries perspective?
No, everything is going well, and that's also why last night was such a head scratcher. Everyone is in good shape. You got Odin Tufto back last night after missing essentially 3 games with a lower body injury, and he was your leading scorer and your best face-off guy, and not back in the lineup, and it didn't really change anything last night. So that's why it's kind of disturbing the way the Komets did play last night. But you know what? There was some good stories as well. Brett Brochu played very well. I thought Yannick Turcotte played a full 60 minutes, and so did Jack Gorniak. It's just, it's one of those things where you're just going to have to scratch your head. I think Jesse Kalicki said, there really wasn't much good out of that. And, hopefully we turn the page and get it done tonight against the struggling Kalamazoo team who lost again last night to Wheeling.
And speaking of players that are playing well and performing very, very well, like I said, didn't play last night, but Connor Unger lately is standing on his head.
Yeah, he was a kid. He's actually on an NHL contract. He struggled a little bit to start the season, but he was a kid who was just adjusting to life in the pros. And I think 2 straight games of being very solid. And I think because you could tell every game, his confidence is building. And, obviously Edmonton saw something in him to sign him to an NHL contract. So he's got the talent. It's just a matter of him just kind of learning to be a pro. And I think he's starting to get it now.
Well, Shane, thank you so much for joining us this Saturday morning after a Friday night game at home. We appreciate it. Thanks to Sheriff for chiming in. Everybody loves Sheriff. And
he has an opinion.
Yeah, that's right. And, well, he should. By gosh, he's earned it. But we will talk to you next Saturday.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
All right. That was Shane Albahrani, play-by-play voice of your Fort Wayne Komets. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking with the judge, Phil Houk. We're going to do that when we return. You're listening to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One on 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Now in My Deals Fort Wayne, Coterie Pizza. Coterie Pizza, where friends and flavors meet. Enjoy their unique and classic pizzas from an Italian stone oven with a self-pour beer wall and plenty of seating. Certificates are limited. Head over to MyDealsFortWayne.com to claim your deal today.
Hey there, Hoosiers. Are you ready to give your child a head start on their future? Indiana 529 savings plans are a simple way to save for their education. Plus, there are some great tax benefits. The best part? It's not just for college. Indiana 529 can be used for tech schools, trade programs, apprenticeships, and more. Start with just $10 a month at myindiana529.com to help them reach their dreams. Read the disclosure booklet carefully before investing. Sponsored by Indiana 529.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Welcome back to Talkin Sports, powered by McMahon's Best One. Along with DC Hendrix, I'm Jim Shovlin. Thanks for tuning in as we're talking local sports of all sorts until the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. If you have a question, comment, opinion, rant, etc., hey, the text line's open at 260-447-8500. That's 260-447-8500. And we will take a look at it and see if it's we can get it on for you. But for right now, we're going to go right to the Talkin Sports phone line, powered by Fire Police City County Federal Credit Union, and talk with the judge, Phil Houk of Fighting Irish Preview. Judge, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jim. And what day is it and where am I?
Well, it is Saturday.
I don't have a game to be at this moment.
You were at home?
I am unbelievable.
How about that?
It's wonderful, and there is nothing better than a Saturday morning in Fort Wayne, Indiana, listening to Jim Shovlin on the radio.
Just how I wrote it. Perfect, Phil. Now,
let's go.
Let's talk about Fighting Irish Preview quickly, because usually I talk during the show that, hey, stay tuned after our show for Fighting Irish Preview. No Fighting Irish Preview today, correct?
No, we're on a hiatus for a couple of weeks, but certainly we will be back. We will have a show for every game as Notre Dame continues this improbable journey into the college football playoffs. So we'll find out tomorrow when that next show will air. It'll either be, I would guess, on 2 weeks from today, or it could be on Friday, because Notre Dame may play on Friday night. But Notre Dame is almost virtually assured a home game on either the 20th or the 21st. We'll have a show there. And as long as Notre Dame's playing, we'll be bringing you Friday and Irish Preview every week.
Okay. Now, if a Notre Dame fan needs their fix within the next couple of weeks, they can go online, can't they?
FightingIrishPreview.com. Just put out an article yesterday about the journey, the explosive journey that Notre Dame has been on for the last 10 games. I think you'll enjoy that. You can relive the whole journey, and we bring you stuff every day. Follow us on social media, not just FightingIrishPreview.com, but go to Instagram, Fighting Irish Preview. Follow that. We're putting out some great graphics and all that good stuff. We're on X, of course, Facebook. We're everywhere, and it's been a great ride this season with the Irish.
I am going to do that. I'm going to head to Instagram as soon as we get off the air and start following. If I haven't already followed Fighting Irish Preview, I may already have. So
all one word, Fighting Irish Preview.
Perfect. Well, Phil, I know this was a very quick segment, and one that came together, late last night. And
yes, it did.
But thank you so much for joining us, as always. Always giving a little bit of class to the Talkin Sports show. And we appreciate that. And enjoy your weekend at home, and get that to-do list all taken care of.
Oh, we're up early this morning, already working on it, but it's a joy. And there's some pretty good football games on to watch today, that's for sure. And they'll all affect the Irish, so keep an eye on them. And it's just a great time for sports right now with everything going on. And it's always good to talk to you, Jim, and always good to hear from DC as well.
Yes, indeed. And tell Linda we said hello.
You got it.
All right. Thank you,
Back
Phil.
at you. Bye-bye.
All right. That was Phil Houk, the judge of Fighting Irish Preview. And that's going to do it for Talkin Sports for a Saturday, December 7th. Don't forget Pearl Harbor Day, date in U.S. history that should never, ever be forgotten or diminished. Never, ever. Thank you to DC Hendrix for joining us this morning. Also to Mike McCaffrey, the University of St. Francis, Shane Albahrani, the Fort Wayne Komets, and the judge, Phil Houk from Fighting Irish Preview. And thanks to DC for, by the way, keeping it all smooth. Thanks to you, the listener, for your text and listening and tuning in each and every Saturday. So until next Saturday, have a great week, everybody.
Podcasts by Federated Media.